So as we're looking at it right now, and I don't know, Sheila, if you want to jump in this, or if Amanda, you have a perspective, but what do federal contractors in particular need to be thinking about in the use of AI in their recruiting and application processes? Ooh.
Yeah, I'll start to tackle it and then Sheila definitely jump in. I would say we need probably the full hour or more to fully tackle potentially what this question is asking. I'd say it depends. Are we talking about an AI tool that is being used for recruiting purposes? i- is it starting to blur the line between recruiting and selection? Is it a tool that's formally a part of your selection process? Is it beyond that, right? So, what you should be doing, I think our advice or the things you should think about would change depending upon how you're using it. It's also going to depend maybe what state you're in as well. But if we're thinking from a federal requirements perspective and specifically for federal contractors, I'd say there is no rule, there is no 2026 standard. There's lots of executive orders that are coming out lately, but if you really look at them, they're all really about kind of opening the door to AI. The latest, kind of announcements coming out, I think this week are about educating like Americans on what AI is and encouraging use, or
For
it's
AI
thinking,
dominance.
yeah, AI dominance, things like that. The Department of Labor is launching this like education initiative where you can get daily text messages that like educate you on AI and give you little like questions. I was like, I am not signing up for that. I get enough spam texts. I don't need to add daily Department of Labor AI text to my list. But so point is there's lots of AI out there, but I don't there really isn't enough out there that I think's squarely getting at this question. And so I think what I would say and what Sheila would say too is unfortunately it's kind of what we were talking about but before with just analyses in general. Like the law hasn't changed. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act continues to exist. Using protected characteristics in your decision making continues to be illegal. Doesn't matter if you're using non-human tools to do that, right? And so, how you have to think about, okay, well, how can I prove that I am not discriminating, right? And so, there's something called the Uniform Guidelines on Employee Selection Procedures, or UGASP will probably say from this point forward. If you're not familiar with that, I'd become familiar with it. It was written back in the 70s, so it does not talk about the internet or even get close to AI, right? However, you can still apply its principles forward. And what it says essentially is if there is an overall disparity, when you look at your hiring numbers, what you need to do is a components analysis or steps analysis. You need to break down your selection process into individual steps. That includes AI. So you need to be analyzing that point in which AI is ranking, scoring, deciding who the recruiter is going to look at versus not, who the manager is going to look at, like, whatever it might be. Like the later in the process, I'd say probably the riskier it gets, right? If you're using AI to decide who gets interviewed or who gets the job, that's even riskier probably than earlier in the process, but nothing is free of risk. And then you have to say, well, our algorithm is continuously changing, or my vendor won't tell me what is being used, et cetera. And so when you think about that, I think some guiding principles are one, make sure you do an inventory. What AI is even existing, and that um, if you go back to when OFCCP was operating in full force with 11246, they were asking in their scheduling letter. It wasn't even AI necessarily. It was anything that's using an algorithm or language models, right? So it was or automated processes. We were like, automated process, like is that like an Excel macro? What exactly do they mean by that? And they chose not to define it. But anyhow, so that's the point is just think about, can I isolate what tool is being used, when it's being used, what decision it's making, pass, fail, top 10, sort, whatever is happening. Can I even figure that out? And then can I identify what characteristics or factors or keywords it is using to make those decisions? That's hard in of itself as the algorithm's always changing. So those are the type of things you need to be able to document or work with your vendor to make sure that those things are documented. And then you need to routinely be monitoring those things. Um, because although there's not a federal law, there is, again, still active enforcement under EEOC, under DOJ, not necessarily OFCCP in the world we are today, but that I think could come down the line. But again,